Right, this is not going to be like my normal timing belt videos. You'll see once you watch this just how awkward it is. Normally I do like to get in a lot more with the camera and try and show you a bit more detail. You should still get the idea on how to do it if you are doing one of these. I couldn't film like I would normally do because you just wouldn't be able to see anything. You'd just be seeing my arm all the time and it'd be pointless. So rather than just leaving stupid comments, just jog on. No point you watching it, is there? Just jog on. And you're going to get the idea. But anyway, yeah, that's it. Get the old Bodgit and Leggit round. There we go. So normally my timing belt videos are in 3 parts, kind of, well, as I explained in the beginning of this video, but this just isn't. It's going to be 1 part. And yeah, so look, hope you enjoy. You can just see it there. I'm just editing it now. And yeah, anyway, you'll see. Hello and welcome to another Bodgit and Leggit video. Today we have a 2003 Hyundai Santa Fe. It's the 2-litre CDIR, whatever I'll put up there, I can't remember exactly. And what we're going to do is the timing belt kit and water pump. Now the kits for these aren't cheap, but it's a Gates kit, as good as you're going to get. It's going to mostly be 3 parts like most of my timing belt videos. First part is ripping everything off, getting to the belt. Second part is putting the belt on, and the third part is putting everything back together. According to the old auto data, it's quite a long job, 6 odd hours. Don't know, we're going to wait and see, and I'll show you the actual marks on the computer. Right, as you can see, we just have a bottom mark for the bottom crank and a top mark for the top camshaft, because diesel pump is actually ran off the top camshaft, so there's no marks for that. And it is very simple, as you can see. There's a water pump, so we're going to be replacing a water pump. There's a tensioner and there's an idler, and that there is our diesel pump, which on our other video you'll see us getting that repaired, as well as our injector. What I'm going to have to do is support the engine somehow with this eye here, because we have to take the engine mount off. So I'm going to put my big struts across. I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to take off the top cover, a couple of 10mm bolts. You can see 1 here and 1 there. I'm not going to be able to film it because I'm going to get in the way, but once I get it off, I'll actually show you. Then we're going to lift it up, take off the wheel. Again, no point me showing you that, it's just 5 bolts. And then I'm going to take off the inner cover. Once I've done that, we'll turn the camera back on and we'll see what we can see. Right, I'm going to have to put the engine brace on first, because in the ultimate wisdom, whoever designed this, the top cover, oh, if I can get in, as we can see, we've got a 10mm bolt on the top. We have a 10mm bolt here on the side, which you can't quite see. And the next one is, move this pipe out of the way, you can just see it there where my finger is, but to get it off, I need to take off the engine mount bracket, which is just down here. It's not the end of the world. I prefer to do it at the end, well, as late as possible. It's just, that's the way I prefer to do it. But it's not the end of the world, you can just see the mount there. So I've had to put my engine brace across the top. I made this one because the standard ones you get, they're not expensive. They're not really long enough. Now I stole the bits from the standard one. I just essentially made the actual shaft longer by a good bit. The standard one would not fit on this vehicle. It works on cars, but it won't work on something kind of like a Jeep or a van. So that's what I'm going to have to do. Again, not going to be able to film it, but we've got 3, maybe 19mm bolts. You can just see them there, if I can get the camera in. So 1, 2 down there. So once I've undone them, we should then be able to take this 10mm bolt off right into there, which I can't quite see again. But I'll show you as soon as I get it off. We have the top timing belt cover off. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 10mm bolts. This is the engine mount. We had actually 3 bolts along the bottom. I only thought we had 2. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 all together. They're 17mm, and we've got a 12mm bolt that holds on a pipe. So they're off. And then we have, when we take off the wheel, we have this cover, which is 4 10mm bolts. We have 3 at the top and as you can see, one down there at the side. And that then leaves this, but as we can see, I'm not gonna be able to film this and do this at the same time. So all I'm gonna do is take off the fan belt, which is this tensioner here. And once I've got the fan belt off, I'm gonna take off the plastic cover. I can just see 1, 2, 3, there's gonna be another bolt up there. But not only that, as we can see, there's a big metal cover there, which also holds on the engine mount. So once I've taken off all that to expose the belt, we can then kind of start filming. But once I've taken off these, I'll show you where the bolts go. But as you can see, there is just no room in here. There's no way I'm gonna be able to film and take this off at the same time, because you're not gonna see bagger all. So as you can see, we've had to take off the bottom pulley, which is 4 12mm bolts, which then gets you the bottom cover, allows you to take the bottom cover off. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 10mm, which takes the bottom cover off. Now that's easy. This is where the fun begins. I had to take the bottom sump cover off, which has got about 4 billion 12mm bolts on it. Again, that's quite easy. Support the engine with a jack. Again, that's easy. To try, which you can't see because it's just awkward, the main frame, which is here, as you can see, has got 4 14mm bolts on, but the problem is there is just no room, as you can see. This is really bad camera angles. There's just no room to take this off. This is completely wedged. You cannot take the bolts out because there's not enough room between the actual chassis and the engine. So what it looks like I'm going to have to do is right down in here, you just about see there, is the middle engine mount. I think I'm going to have to disconnect that to allow me to lift the engine higher and hopefully take out this bracket. It is just, it's stupid. It really is stupid. Again, I'm struggling to get the camera angle. This is the problem with timing belts. There's just no room. You just see it there with the bolts sticking out. So I'm really struggling to take this out. So yeah, keep working on it. This just gets better and better. So I've taken off the actual mounting that's bolted to the car. That's the mounting that bolts from the mounting to the engine. So you can see all that off. I then had to remove the power steering pump and the expansion bottle. And as we can see, we've got loads of room now, but still no room to take out this. I managed to get all the bolts out by disconnecting it from here, lowering it completely down to take out the bottom bolt, and lifting it up this high to take out these other bolts across here. But as you can see, there's still no way this will come out. I was thinking about having to undo the actual engine mount down there. This is just ridiculous. And then I came across to the information and it says take out the engine, or disconnect the gearbox mounting. But I mean, this is just ridiculous. I'm gonna have to take half the engine out just to do the timing belt, which is just ridiculous. I'm not gonna take the engine out. I'm just gonna remove the gearbox mount. But seriously, come on, Hyundai, for God's sake. Which stupid idiot designed it this way? There's no need for it. Why can't you just design things in mind of fixing things, you absolute tits? There's no need for it. And the customer then gets charged a lot more because it takes a lot longer. And then people don't buy your cars because it's too bloody expensive to repair them. Stupid. This is the stupidest design ever. So I've disconnected the engine mount at the radiator and then at the gearbox, so at the front you could say, near the radiator, look. Then I had to disconnect the rear engine mount. You can see that, which I can't get the light in. No, I can't get fucking light in. It gets fucking better and better. So that one there, which you can't really see. And now, hopefully, I've got enough room to take out, focus, enough room to take out that stupid plate. And if I don't, then I'm just gonna hit it with a hammer, and a big one at that. This is without doubt the most stupidest, if that's a word, just ridiculous way of setting up this engine. I have this engine mount off at the front and the two side engine mounts, so the two gearbox mounts essentially. There's only one engine mount holding this engine in, which is the far one, which is opposite from here. All the other engine mounts are out. And this still, no matter what I do, will not come out. I can't take it down below because when I push the engine back, the gap closes. So I can't push this down. This is stuck. It is ridiculous. And I'm not going to take the engine out just to do a timing belt. So what I'm going to have to do, which is just going to be a nightmare, I'm going to have to move this out of the way. I'm going to have to undo that bolt which holds the tensioner on, and hopefully once the tensioner's on, this bracket will come off, which is going to be a nightmare to get the belt back on, but that's all I can do. So I'm going to line up my timing marks. Here's the first one, and that lines up at, I think it's like 3 o'clock. And the bottom one underneath, which you can't quite see now because the engine's lifted, we'll go back onto the diagram so you can see. I'm going to line up that mark at the bottom with this mark here. So you could say around 1 o'clock is the lower mark and 3 o'clock is the top mark. So I'm going to line them up, mark everything with Tipp-Ex, and then try and take off this tensioner. And just give you an idea what you get in the box. This is our gates. Always use gates. This is our tensioner here. So I'm going to have to undo this bolt, and hopefully once I take out the tensioner, because at the minute that bracket is hitting the tensioner here. So if I take out the tensioner, hopefully that bracket will come off. It's going to be a nightmare trying to actually adjust this properly, but I can't see any other way around it. We have our water pump then, which is here. We have our destructions, which I'll just leave there. And then, what else do we have? We have an idler and a new bolt. Oh, and we have the timing belt down there. This is just a joke, an absolute fucking joke. Right, I really don't know if this is going to work. I've got all my marks. I've double marked everything just in case. Put Tipp-Ex on everything, so we know we're going to be okay as regard our marks. But I just don't know if this is going to work. I hope it is. This is still going to cause problems. Ah, for fuck's sake. So again, this is still going to cause problems in putting everything on, but I think it's going to be the only way I can do it. So 15 mil, let's see if we can undo this first. Ugh. That's tight. Ridiculously tight, in fact. Now, I don't think it's going to be like my normal timing belt videos because I just can't show you anything. As you can see, there's just no room. So I'm just going to kind of have to show you things as I take them off. So this might just be one part to this, but you should hopefully get the idea of how to do it. And what I suggest is, if you've got one of these, sell it before you need to do the timeout on it, because it's fucking ridiculous. This is going to take forever. Oh, I'll turn the camera back on once I got this stupid fucking bolt off. Hey, now let's hope this works. I've got the bolt off. I heard it click back, so I know the pressure's now off. Will I say that? Maybe not. Now, come on. Right, belt's off, so the tension's definitely off. Can I get to this bolt? Ah, go away! Still not off all the way. You off now? Right. Will this come up all together now? Hey! This is the stupidest fucking thing you've ever seen in your life. Whoever designed this, send me a message and I'll tell you where I live. I want a word with you. Bell End. Now, it's off, but, and I say but, we've now got to put that back on with that in our way. So I'm going to have to put these both back on together at the same time. And this is the timing belt. This is serious. This can't just be done and you think you're going to be okay. You have to be right. I don't know. I'm not happy about this. All right. Way to check a timing belt is you squeeze it together to see if there's any cuts, and as we can see, the camera might not show, but there is hairline cracks. Oh, hairline cracks in there. So now what I need to do is change the water pump. We're changing this tensioner here, or this pulley should I say, or idler wheel. I mean, to be fair, if you could take off that plate, this timing belt is quite easy. I could put that on no problem. But with that plate in the way, there's just no way. There's just no way. It's just going to be awkward. Oh, why Hyundai? Here's our water pump. And we've got a metal gasket, which is nice. So, this is a good idea now to see how many bolts we've got. But before we do that, there is a plastic cover on here. And some of the bolts obviously hold on the water pump, and there's some bolts behind. Again, this is the best I can do, unfortunately. I'm going to leave the camera on and hopefully I don't get in the way. They look like 10mm bolts. Let's see. Oh, that's it. Just drop everything. Why not? Just for the hell of it. As you can see, they're special washers. So they have to go in the right way. They've got a little collar on them, so you don't want to be losing them, fellas. Now my battery's going to die on my camera. Looks to be only one more that I can see holding this cover on. So hopefully now that should be the cover off, the plastic cover. Yeah, so that's the plastic cover and the water pump sits behind that. What was that? Bit of plastic. Now we've got 1, 2, looks like another 3 bolts. 2 10mm and 1 maybe 14mm. But now, bearing in mind, we are going to be losing water once we very careful that I didn't back myself into a corner, because it was very close to the chassis leg. I could have wedged the tool in between the chassis leg because of the socket coming out. So looks like we've just got one more right here, and then the waterfall's gonna happen. So make sure you've got a bucket underneath and all that. It's best to replace all your fluids anyway, but just make sure you've got something to catch it underneath. It looks like they've sealed it with sealer rather than using the gasket, which I understand why they do it, because you know you can be double sure it's gonna work. I haven't made up my mind. I think just because this is so fucking awkward, I'll just reseal it. Normally I don't. I do believe there's a gasket, use the gasket, but Jesus. Whoever did this over tightened every single one of these bolts. Well, I think they used enough sealer. Now, let it flow. Just crack it. Hope I can get it in there. Just, can I? There we go. It's leaking. Break away, you're free. They use a gasket and they use sealer. There's the old water pump. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to clean all this up. And then I turn the camera back on, I'll decide what I'm going to do. Right, I've gone with the sealer option. But what I don't like about this bolt here is for the main metal mount that I took off. So I've got to put all these bolts in, but I can't put this bolt in until I put the metal mount bolt in. So I'm going to have to rely on the fact, which is stupid, that the two bolts either end, so this one where my finger is and this one where my other finger is going to be good enough to seal that. This is a stupid design. It is beyond stupid. I don't like the fact that I have to let 90 degrees essentially of this pump with no bolt on while that's drying. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. But there's nothing I can do about it. I'm just going to have to stick this on and hope for the best. It is ridiculous. I've never come across that before now, but that is ridiculous. Make sure if you're using sealer, you've got all the old sealer off. There's no water in there because it won't, well, it will dry, but if the water's there it could cause a hole, so it's going to permanently leak. So I've got to try and get these in quick enough. Really do not like the way this is done. Just everything about it is wrong. What is going on there? Well, there's something not right there. Oh, this just gets better and better, doesn't it? I've no more sealer now. Just use the last bit of sealer I have. It's now destroyed. the hell is going on there? I don't know what's going on there, but this doesn't want to fit. What is going on there? What the fuck is going on there? I'm gonna have to figure this out. There's something not right here. I don't know. I'm having one of them days. This stupid, ridiculous fucking thing behind me. As you can see, I put the water pump on and it started grinding. It wasn't right. Took it off. At first, couldn't really figure out what was going on. But as it turns out, the legs or the fins on this water pump, the one that came out, is 19 millimeters. The fins on this one is 25 millimeters. Now this is a genuine Gates kit. I have never ever had a problem with Gates belts. It's the belts I've always used and it's the belts I'm always going to use. So I rang up to say, you know, is this the right kit? Have I done something wrong? Can you double check? The marks on the timing belt all match up, the idler matches up and the tensioner matches up and the water pump matches up. It's the same shape, same size, same everything. And so what he did is he has another kit there and he took out the water pump from the box and exactly the same as this, 25 mil. He then got a water pump on its own, again a Gates water pump out of another box, and the fin's only 19 millimeters. So it's 6 millimeters in the difference. What would have happened is if I have screwed this in, either one or two things, this would have seized and not turned, or it would have grated. Whichever way, if it seized and not turned, you try to start your engine, engine goes bang, new engine. Well, new engine. That's why it's vitally important, even with new parts, even with genuine parts, doesn't matter. Always check your parts. What I did, granted, I didn't notice that straight away, but as I was putting it in, I turned it by hand, as I always do. And you will see that on the video, and I heard a grating noise, and that's not right. Shouldn't be making that noise. And then we figured it out. If you was to put this in, maybe for the first time, you maybe didn't check that, start the engine, boom, new engine. So very important. He's going to get onto Gates. We don't know what's going on, but his two kits up there, both has this water pump, and the other water pump he's got on his own is the right water pump. Everything else in the kit is perfect. Don't know what's happened. Hopefully I'll get an answer from him, from Gates, and we'll see. But yeah, it is very, very weird. But that could have caused me, well, it could have caused me thousands of pounds worth of damage, because it would have been a new engine and it would have been me that had to pay for it. Even though, as you can see, it wasn't my fault. But this is why you check. No matter what you put in, spark plugs, everything, you check it up against, make sure they're right. And I checked this, so we didn't have a problem. But this is a thing you do have to check. You have to check everything. Even if this was too small or too big, or bigger or smaller, should I say, that will completely mess up the timing. So you have to check everything. Just because you get something brand new in a box and it's made by a proper company, or it's made by the genuine part, which essentially this is a genuine kit, because all the manufacturers use Gates. Well, as far as I know, I could be wrong, but 99% of them use Gates. It doesn't say Gates on it, but it's a Gates kit. So, yeah, just something to be aware of. Always double check your parts. Nothing more I can do on this now. I have to wait for parts again, which is just unbelievable. This thing has just caused me nothing but hassle since I started. Stupid design, just fucking stupid. Hyundai, sort your shit out. I got it. Look. Got the new water pump. As you can see, a lot smaller than that one, but the same as this one. So I feel like that poem, water pumps everywhere, but not one fucking in the engine. It is now getting late, getting fed up. I'm hungry, the dogs are hungry. Are you hungry? Are you hungry? Oh yeah. Are you hungry? No? Yeah? Don't know? Woof. Right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have to clean all this off again, and I'm going to shove this water pump in. There's no point me showing you because you know how it goes. Interestingly enough as well, the pulley is a different colour to the other one, to the one that was big. It's the same colour as the one that came out, but it's a different colour. As you can see, that's a lot shinier than this one. So yeah, I am going to use the sealer, and I'm also going to use the gasket just because it's like a mil thick, just to space it out. So I'm going to have to put sealer on this side, put the gasket on, and put sealer on the gasket, just in case I need that extra gap. What a nightmare. So I'm going to do that. No point in filming it, but I'm going to do that, and yeah, get this thing wrapped up. I have it on. I have a water pump on, and it's not making any noise. Isn't that so good? Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace this. Again, it's just one bolt there. There's no point me showing you. And also put on the cover with the 3 10mm bolts. Again, you saw me take that off. That's the mark for the bottom pulley, as you can see. What I'm also going to do, just while I'm here, is I'm going to change the oil filter, because that is going to be a nightmare to get to. I have to service it anyway, so I'm going to quickly change the oil filter because it's easier to get to. Then I'm just going to put the belt on, but once I've got the belt on and that bracket in place, then I'll turn the camera back in and we'll try, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to try and tension the belt and put that bracket on at the same time. That is going to be fun. Yeah. I can't wait. The oil filter, in the sense of leaving it off to put everything on, and even that wouldn't work. If you was to take off the whole oil filter housing, but that even causes a problem in itself, then you'll be able to get it on. But I'm not going to do that. Right, we have arrows on this timing belt, as you can see. So you want to make sure your arrows, if you have them, are facing the right way, which ours is. And then I have just put it on the car. As you can see, this is really loose here because this should be here, but I can't put that on its own. I have to put the where is it, that stupid thing on. So I'm going to kind of get that rested in place, then I'll turn the camera back on and we'll see what we can do. I'm going to film this as best as I can, but there's just no room. It's just, this is not like my normal timing belt videos, but there is just no room to do anything here. I've managed to get it in. Nothing's tight, but it's in place. What I need to do next is, this is the tensioner here. We have an Allen key, which is a 5mm Allen key, and we have a locking pin in there. Now you can see this is the locking pin here. Hopefully you can see that. I'm not going to remove that yet. All I'm going to do is get my Allen key, and I'm going to loosen this Allen key bolt in there. That should then hopefully put tension on my belt. Let's see if I can get the Allen key, but you see, as you can see, as soon as I put the Allen key in, and then in the way of the camera, and it's just a nightmare. Can I? Oh, that shouldn't be that tight. Why is it that tight? This should be a nice, easy job, this. Problem is, there's no room. Why are you so tight? I don't know if you heard that, but just, that shouldn't be that tight. Can I get this in? This is just a joke. It truly is. Right, for some reason, My belt still hasn't gone taut. The locking pin, it's telling me not to move it until I turn the engine, but I can't do that because the belt's way too loose. These instructions aren't making sense. It's telling me to loosen this Allen key and then turn the engine over 2 times and then pull out the locking pin which goes there. But as you can see, the locking pin is what's stopping the spring coming out. So I can't turn the engine by hand because the timing's going to slip because the belt is way too loose. So I'm going to have to pull the pin now. That doesn't make any sense. This really isn't making any sense to me whatsoever. Hold on. Maybe I just didn't have it loosened enough because that's just took up the slack. There we go. The tension pin is now loose, but it's telling me to keep that in. The timing belt has tightened up. Just got to check my marks, make sure my marks haven't moved. And no, my marks haven't moved. So now it's telling me to spin this 2 revolutions essentially. Make sure my timing belt marks are still aligned. Then tighten the Allen key bolt back up and then remove my locking pin. I've got to now spin this 2 times and I need this stupid bracket out the way. So I'm going to spin this 2 times. I'll leave the camera running and I'll just speed this up. And I think, providing our marks line back up, we're okay. Now, if your marks don't line back up, it's not the end of the world. You can just take everything off and start again. You have your marks, that's the most important thing. So don't worry about if something has moved. We haven't got anything moved yet, but that doesn't mean once I start spinning this, something weird might happen, I don't know. So let me spin this and then see what happens, and then I can go home. It's like 9 o'clock now, and I just want to go home. Sorted! What a bitch. Now, we've moved it basically 2 revolutions, which is done for a couple of reasons. One, you need to make sure nothing's happened, the valves aren't hitting the cylinders or anything like that. If it locks up, you know you have a problem, a serious problem, so you don't start it. But you're not going to do any damage. Now, if you turn it and there's nothing happen like this, it turns fine, and your timing mark is still off, you won't do any damage to your engine. Your engine will run horrible, and it might not sound great, it might start smoking, but you will do no damage because nothing's going to hit. Then you're going to have to take everything off and kind of start again. But we are lined up with our marks, we are lined up with our bottom mark, so we shouldn't have a problem. Where's my Allen key gone? So I should now be able to tighten this Allen key. If I can get to the stupid thing. She's just there. I know I'm getting in the way, but you get the idea. I'm going to tighten this Allen key and then pull out the locking pin. And as you move it, and I left that Allen key loose, the tensioner has kind of found its own way where it needs to be, and everything's good. So with nothing wrong there, but this is just a bit tricky. I'm just not going to be able to do this, and you're going to be able to see what I'm doing all I'm doing is tightening that Allen key there with this. Then I'm going to pull out the pin, and that's it. Then it's a case of trying to get this stupid thing back on again. It's just a nightmare. So once I've done that, I'll turn the camera back on once this stupid thing is back on. And it shouldn't be that long. Well, I'm going to finish this off tomorrow. It should have been finished today, but with the problems with the water pump and stuff, there's nothing I can do about it. That's what some customers don't understand. The water pump, I couldn't put it on because I would have caused damage. And, you know, it's just one of them things. And it's delayed me. And obviously the customer needs his car back, but this is just one of these things. And some people don't understand this is what can happen when you're working on cars. It's no one's fault. It's annoying, but it just happens. So I'm going to tighten this, get all this thingy down, and then crack on with this tomorrow. Right, next day. I haven't done anything else with it. I'm just going to start this. Now, we know we've got no water in the car, so I'm not going to start it for long. I'm just going to make sure everything's okay. I changed the oil filter, and I've also changed the oil. Now, I'm only doing that because I have to service this anyway. So before anyone says, well, you didn't change the oil when you changed the filter. I did, but that's not this video. What I'm going to do now is just going to start it. It might sound a bit weird because, like our last video, we just did the injectors and the pumps, and it still hasn't really been ran long enough to get everything kind of sorted in the sense of I don't think it's quite learnt the injectors yet, but it should start, hopefully. And yeah, we can get cracking on with this stupid thing. Yeah, that's the injectors. That's good, starts easy, runs. Just got to bolt everything back together now, bleed it, put water in it, and then never see it again. Now you can hear the engine a lot better now. Just to start up the injectors, just need a bit more time to program in, I think. Right, I'm gonna put the lower cover on, and maybe the top cover, because I need to get the engine mounts on. And again, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to show you, but you can get the idea. I'm going to put this lower cover on, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts, 10mm bolts, and I'm going to put the bottom pulley on, which is 4 12mm bolts. So I'm going to do that. Once I've done that, we'll turn the camera back on. Right, as you can see, we have that on. We have the fan belt on. What I did forget to say is, before you take the fan belt off, just take a picture of it or draw it out on a piece of paper just so you know where it goes. Just saves a bit of time checking it out afterwards. But that's the bottom cover on, the fan belt and the bottom pulley. All we've got to do now is put the top cover on and put all the engine mounts back and then bleed this baby. This is the top engine cover, and that's the engine mount for the top, and then it's just 2 bolts. One engine mount here and the other one, which you can't see, under there. So I'm going to get them on and yeah, get this thing out. Right, it is done. We put the little sticker there to say when the timeout was done. We have bled the system. It is important to bleed your system just to make sure everything's okay, make sure your water pump's not leaking, make sure everything's working as it should. If you don't bleed your system, it will overheat. So we've done that. And yes, this thing can get out of my garage. Hello, Milo. Okay, ignore me. Yes, stupid thing is done. Fucking yes. That is the first and last one I am doing. The problem is the clutch isn't great in it either, so. Anyway, look, it's done, it's running. Low pressure pump, possibly next, I'm not sure. I've had a look and it's inside the tank. There's an awful lot to strip, and he's spent an awful lot of money at the minute, so I don't know if he's going to be doing it yet. It is on its way out, but it's not gone. We have to wait and see. But I'm just glad it is done. So yeah, that's it. Yeah, look, that's it. usual, everything's down below. Please like, share and subscribe. But most importantly, don't forget, get your hands dirty. See you for the next one.